Hello, my name is Dale Wilhite. I live with a friend Clommer in Mountain Village, Colorado. If you want to find out anything about me, you go to MySpace where I have a page. This concept deals with crime, and there is a way that we here in America can reduce crime in America. Although it won't happen anytime soon, if my idea were implemented in all 50 states, primarily in the big states and big cities, maybe down the road, 10 to 15 to 20 years, maybe 30 years, crime could really begin to drop. Now, it could also start dropping immediately or within a year after this concept became a reality. If it's, how can I put it? If the schools do it right. This does involve schools. What my concept is that we need to have criminal courses that teach students in elementary school and high school about crime in America, what it does to America, what it costs America, and the effect it has on our nation. We need kids to learn about things like domestic violence, child abuse, murder, of course drugs, robberies. We need them to learn everything. We need all students to be required to go into, be taken as a class group into a prison to see the horror and the terror that awaits them if they don't play by the rules of life in those prison systems. It's called Scared Straight. That's nothing new there. That's been done before, and it needs to be done in every school in America, including private schools and religious schools. Just because you go to a religious school doesn't mean you're going to be a religious person when you, as an adult. You can only hope. Sometimes your worst people in the world are people who've been to religious school. For some reason, they just completely freak out and go Satan's way. Let's just put it that way. Anyhow, if we could do something like that in America and scare these kids while their minds are still open, while they're young enough, down the road, we might really be able to take a bite out of crime. Of course, that's an old saying. I really think that we need to focus in on domestic violence, and I have seen a lot of violence in my life, and been at the receiving end of a lot of violence as a kid. I think this would be a chance to teach the young boys in school how to be men, that being men is not beating up on a woman. That doesn't make you a man, it makes you an animal. And maybe we can cut domestic violence there. We need to let people see a lot of films, a lot of documentaries about crime. Let women come in who have been the victims of domestic violence and talk to their classes and let them tell their story. The same thing with child abuse, and I'm a victim of the worst kind of child abuse you can imagine. And that happened between 63 and 65. Anyhow, and let adults come in, or even children who are the victims of child abuse, come in and give their story. You have to take this to the schools, and the reason why is because kids' minds are still open. And while the minds are still open, they might be reached. This thing here that we have in America, where if, they say if you don't know what the laws are, too bad, or something, it's like that. Ignorance of the law is no excuse is another one of those sayings. But we need to go back over this with our population, and the best way to start would be, I don't know how far down into elementary school you would go, but maybe starting with about the 3rd grade, because that seems to be where some of the violence you hear in the news every now seems to begin with the 3rd graders up. So let's do that, and that's money worth spending if we can ever get our economy back going, and we can ever get them, and we have the money. Although I favor that each state come up with their own courses, and that although it's my personal opinion, I don't like to force things on people, but I believe it ought to be mandatory. I think that in the long run, and even in the short run, we can begin to save billions of dollars that we spend each year in hospital care and in our prison systems, our judicial systems. We'll save that if we can teach our children to be law-abiding citizens. And I think it would really work if it's handled right. I don't favor the federal government having control of this. I believe this should be a state-by-state thing. Let the states deal with it, and hopefully it'll become a reality. And this is the way to cut crime in America. If you like my idea, I hope you would pitch it to your congressional representative, and anybody that will listen on the internet, anywhere, any place. It has to have a foundation, and you can help provide that foundation. Thank you for your time, and I hope you like my idea.